Good evening and welcome back to the Jazz Ranch. We're having a swinging time here. We got something special for you tonight, but we had a little controversy here the other day. A couple of the members were arguing about which piano was better, the upright or the grand. And they kept going back and forth with it, and they couldn't settle the argument. So they played both instruments, and actually the upright sounded a little better, I have to admit. It was maybe better in tune, or maybe it was a better brand of piano, whatever. But anyway, they couldn't settle the argument, and it got so heated that eventually what they did, and there's a cliff out back, what they did is they dropped both pianos off the cliff. And the grand piano made the bigger kablam, and so that's how they settled it. The grand was better. See what I mean? We got some weirdos around here. Anyway, I got a very special lesson for you tonight, and here it is. Continuing, some folks have asked me to look at the version of Be My Love by Barry Harris, the way he plays it, and the various techniques that he uses, the drop two, you know, the diminished sixth chord and how he plays over it, and so on and so on. And so I took a look at it and I thought it was pretty interesting, so I've done a little analysis of this. Now I can't play like Barry by any means, but I'm going to give you my version of it, and the score will be available for free on my website, so you can download it and learn it and check out some of the techniques. So here we go now with the Barry Harris version of Be My Love by Sammy Cahn. Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the devices that Barry Harris is using in this song, and I can talk about the technical things and the harmonies and that sort of thing. I can't talk about the rhythm that he plays that much because that's very specific to him, and it's the most difficult thing to deal with, but it just, the more you listen to it, the more you try to emulate it, you just try to get the whole thing to swing. He has his own introduction. I didn't play his introduction, I played my own, which is a very personal thing. But then he starts out, his tune starts out like this, and the first note is a fourth, so it doesn't fit the chord of an E flat, so I revoiced it to a diminished chord with the E flat in the, so that's a nice tension chord. Then it goes to E flat major, then this is locked hands where I'm doubling the melody in the left hand. Now these are spread voicings, big spreads. The G7 flat 9 there, then the C minor. Now here's the first usage of the drop 2 technique. So you can see that's a drop 2 because that note goes up there. So it'd be like this. That'd be voiced in a block chord position, so then I take that note and put it in the left hand. And if this is new to you, then you want to go back and look at my drop 2 tutorials. It's a really pretty sound, a pretty way to harmonize a line. Usually these lines are stepwise. That's stepwise, so that the bass note is harmonizing with the melody note in tenths, and then the harmony is in here. And then he has this turn, big chords now, and that D7 is altered to a flat 9 sharp 11 there. That's a G sus with a 4th there. And then he makes it augmented with a sharp 5 there. Now here he goes again. Now these are the diminished approaches to the chord. E diminished approaches F minor 7 now, and he does it as a drop 2. So you have, it's really a pretty sound. And then it goes B flat 7 there. Now that repeats a step higher, F sharp diminished. So this is really a nice passage, a beautiful composition there now. And then I harmonize this melody line. Well, actually I played it to the C minor. And he plays thirds here, and then he has this figure which I really can't play. It's his rhythmic figure, but the idea of it is this. It goes C minor to F7, altered, to the F minor, and then he does a drop 2 figure on the F minor 7. Goes like this. That's a really cool figure. And then to that chord, which is a B flat 7 augmented with a sharp 9. So it really, a lot of tension going back to E flat. Then this diminished approach to the E flat. So there's a lot of diminished chords in this. Now here's another drop 2, harmonizing the melody in tenths. Big chords again now. I put actually a B diminished there. To the C minor now. Now this is sort of an embellishment of the melody that he does. He does this. Those are thirds. He's harmonizing the melody. Of course, he's interpreting it. As a jazz pianist, that's what you want to do. You want to interpret the melody. Don't play it literally. Big chords now again. To that G sus chord. Then it becomes a diminished chord there. G diminished there to take us to the F minor. F minor 7. Then he augments it to a B flat sus, which is interesting there. And then this F sharp diminished, a lot of diminished chords, to the G minor 7. Now we go to the C minor 7 like that. Now these are mostly turnarounds. F minor 7 to B flat. Then he does this interesting thing to approach the next chord. It's down steps, like a B flat sus to an A flat, altered to a G half diminished now. And then up to this, that's like a G7 sharp 11. It's really very sophisticated approach to the C7. And then he puts it augmented there. He's got everything happening here. And then he has another drop 2 little melody here that's rhythmic. He does the same thing again. To that sharp 9, that B flat sharp 9 chord there that sets up the 1 and the break into the solo. There's an E flat 6/9. Then there's the break to the solo. And we'll talk about soloing a little bit now next. Oh, here we go. To explain, I like to work in segments. That way, if I make a mistake or I flub a word or I screw up something, I don't have to redo a whole 10-minute or 20-minute segment. I can just, break it into smaller segments, and then it's much easier to get these things done quicker. Because this could take hours and hours and hours if I had to redo a whole section. So anyway, we're on the second half of the tune. Let's see what. And then he has this, that drop 2, then that chord. So now that B flat 7 sharp 9 is an interesting chord because you can use a superloquium there. Right? So that's it right there. Now what is it exactly? Well, you can look at it any way you like. It's like an altered Locrian scale, but I like to look at it as half whole, and then all whole. That's the way I like it. Some people don't like to look at it that way, but that's my way. That's the way I can, but it's a Herbie Hancock type of run. Like that. It's there now to the E flat. Now we're in the second half. Same thing, it just repeats. And then we get up to a sequence in which it just begins to do tags. And so what I did was I began to add some different things to my solo rather than just strictly linear. I'm going into, like I said, that's kind of a drop to interpretation of a scale of the chords, right? And then I did a block chords with octaves. So as a pianist, you have a lot of advantages. You have the ability to play linear, and you have the ability to play in chordal, and then you have the ability to play in octaves with chords supporting them. So you have a variety of ways that you can play that is very interesting, and when you play that way, it's very rhythmic too. Like that, it's very rhythmic. So that's about all I'm going to talk about the improvisation. You can look at my detailed versions of improvisation on previous videos. But that's pretty much, if you download this song and you look at it, I think you'll learn by just looking at the music a lot and then follow along with the video, and you'll get some really good ideas because it's an amazing version. And Barry Harris, I commend him, obviously. He's a great pianist. He's one of the legendary jazz pianists who's still alive. Okay, so thank you. We'll wrap up now. Wrapping up, I'd just like to say thanks so much for hanging with me here at the Jazz Ranch. And this was a special request to do a Barry Harris arrangement, and I learned a lot from it. I hope you learned something from it too, and you'll enjoy this. And the most important thing about Barry, I would say his time feel would be to play as laid back as possible. It's very laid back, it's behind the beat, it's very relaxed. That's the most important thing. So anyway, thanks so much for asking for this. And until next time, I'll see you. And in the meantime, don't drop your piano over the cliff. I'll see you. Bye-bye.